And in this episode, I'll mainly talk about the expressions implementation. So I've got a little bit of a grumpy pulse, and there's the sweat drops, and then there's tears and the blushing. All right, so we got those in. But before we get into those, I want to talk about first of all what I did in between episodes. I actually spent around an hour to roughly 2 hours refining the mouth, because in the last episode I didn't finish all the whole mouth inputs, and we did leave with some glitches and bugs here and there, but now I can show you that everything turns out fine, actually better than expected. So you get the wide open mouth, and you can see the transitioning of the width, and also the open and close are rather smooth. And remember that these are actually three different at least three different textures right here. They're just interchanging in between. One fades out while the other fades in, overlapping the newer one, overlapping the older one. So that's sort of a little trick here to make some what I consider more refined and motions. All right, so I think that looks better. So that's my little technique there. And also I have been watching some of the newer Live2D official tutorials. They're all in Japanese, so don't bother with it if you don't understand Japanese. I don't understand either, but I spend time cracking their codes. But anyhow, I did learn a few tricks. First of all, there's this snapshot function. I never noticed that there's this button here, but it's pretty useful. All right, so what it does is that, for say like you are starting your new project and you put everything in, now you want to do the head, you want to do the angle X in this perimeter. So what I've been showing you guys is that I keep moving back and forth, and moving the hair, moving the eyes, moving the face and everything. Well, I have deformers controlling most of it, but I still need a lot of back and forth just to check things out. And most of the time I'm just forgetting what I saw previously, and I have to go back just to have a quick look. And so remember, okay, so this is center. I want this move to the far right. Is this too far? Is it not far enough? So this is a lot of time wasting. However, if you stand still, do the snapshot once, and you realize that you will have a ghost image of your last captured moment, the moment you push the snapshot. And when you click again, it's gone. And you click it here, and then it comes back up. All right, so snapshot it's a quick button for sort of recording you know, the center ghost image, so that you can change back and you don't need to change back and forth that often. You still need to do a little bit of it, but not that often. So it's pretty neat, and I'll probably rely on this a lot more often. All right, so there's one thing. The other thing is that I want to correct my own mistake, is that in this project and also my previous projects, I usually have different shades of the same color in one piece of texture. And let's go to the texture list and let's have a closer look. So what I mean is, if you look at here, there are 4 shades of orange-ish yellow, and this includes a highlight, the dimmer light, the net neutral color, and then there's the shadow, the shade, darker shade, and then there's a shadow. So there's 5 gradients of orange right here at work in 2 pieces of hairpiece, and that is why I had a lot of trouble making them look coherent or consistent, because you can see some of the colors are not matching each other, and they can't, because you know I didn't like the original piece couldn't possibly have these linked up and understand that, okay, this is one surface, that's why they should be in consistent shadowing. But that's not how computer works, and that's why there's nothing they can do about it. There's nothing I could do about it. I've been stretching here and there to you know, to nudge the effect a little bit, but it's not helping that well anyways. I just hopefully when I'm playing with the animator or the Live2D viewer, the animations move faster in practice, and that's how it doesn't look that obvious. But it's not a good thing. What the official does, the official Live2D samples all along has been showing art styles that don't have a lot of dynamic shading on the hair and on the face. And that's why they've been dodging the problem right here. But I realized that, you know, it's not Live2D's limitation. What I should have done instead, and you should do this from now on, is that have different shades and highlights in different layers. So what it should have been done is that I should have the whole piece here in one orange tone, and then I'll have a separate layer, and then with this one probably extending all the way here. So, you know, like, oops, let me zoom that in. So you know how this orange circle here is actually continuing in this part. I should have this part and this part as one different piece, and I should put it somewhere here since I have a lot of space here, and I should have the shadows and the different shades in other pieces, and then lay them out on top. I can't say it's gonna be perfectly fine, because like this shade is on top of this orange, but it's for the same orange is behind that one. It's a little bit more complicated. Maybe in future projects I'll do a little bit of a more in-depth talk about it, and maybe I'll realize I'll discover more problems at the point. But for now, try to keep your art style. Try to dodge it really. If you don't have to be stuck with this art style, I would say go with simpler ones for now until there's some kind of solutions that comes out with that everyone agrees with, that is easy, time-saving, and effective. All right. But anyhow, let's work with whatever we have here. So shading is one thing. Also the face has a darker purple shade here for the shadow. This case definitely should have been in a different separate layer. All right, so this layer here is a separate piece. I just have to slap them onto the same deformer. Then it shouldn't be a lot of work. However, it would look nicer, especially when you turn your head around, when you have different eye movements. Open and close. And I actually put in some quite a bit of work time in refining the consistency of this eyeshadowing and all that. So yeah, so those are the things I've been working offline. And let me see what else. All right, so we can get into the expression things. What we have here are 4 different expressions, the universal ones. There's a grumpy pulse, there's a sweat drops. So at 0 you don't see anything. At 0.5 of the perimeter you see 2 little drops on the cheek. So there's a minimal, like a tiny little sweat, little bit of a confusion, and then you're starting to feel annoyed with you know, helpless in this state. As it goes up like that, you see sweat drops here. I probably should turn up. Is it 100 already? How come it looks half transparent? Let me make sure I'm clicking. Okay, so let's go to expression 5, 6. Which one is it? Is it 2? Okay, it's 01, and it is not hitting 100%. I could add another one, I guess. 0.8, and I want to push it. I want to push the appearance to 100%, opacity up 100% earlier. So there's stage 1, normal, or stage 0, and stage 1 is that 2 little sweat drops. Stage 3 with the big sweat drops showing up like that, and stage 4 is these miserable vertical lines about the eyes, and they appear in a little bit of animation. What I did I have, okay, so you can look at the the polygons, and it appears between 0.8 to 1.00 of this perimeter. What I did was I stretched it downwards a little bit, so as it appears, it slides down a little bit, and rather than just fading out in a very flat movement. So that's what I did there. I could have done with the sweat drops, but I figured out that maybe I will leave that to the animator production to handle that point. And then there's also the tears. Tears are pretty straightforward. They just appear and disappear, unless you have like a little spotlight here, a tiny little white dot here. You want it sort of like a shaky tear with a little bit of a shaky jittering movement. Then you can add some complexity on it, but otherwise I kept it pretty simple. So 0 is none, and 1.00 is 100%. That's all. And then there's a blush. There's stage 1 with little dots. Stage 2 with the red dots here, the bigger pink one. And the original one's still on top of it, so they sort of amplify the effects. And then there's stage 3, which I made the first 2 disappear as this one shows up at the center. So that's the transition. All right. So how do I work with this? For say like it looks kind of weird now, but the whole expression would come alive if you add along with these things. All right. So I have this eyes probably still look at the viewer, and then I'll have one brow towards center, the other one towards the side. And then I'll have the angles tilt upwards like that, and then I'll have them deform like that. Alright, so that, or I can also do a little bit of eye open close. Alright, so that's a face where she's terribly embarrassed, and if she wants, I should probably throw in the tears as well. Alright, so and everything together, she looks embarrassed, she's about to cry, and that is my expression. Oh, also the mouth. All right, so I'll probably use this one or this one. Okay, I guess the blush is fading in. I may consider putting a mouth on top of it, depending. It might be your own preference, but probably keep it like that for now. Yeah. All right, so I got the mouth probably like this, and then eyes a little bit open. The hair. Do I do anything about hair? I can do something with the ahoge. Probably a little bit slanted over here. I can do the angle X like that. Oh, I haven't linked them up with the deformer referencing. I guess I'll do that right now. So first of all, I want to explain why I have them separated. So, if you don't know how to add in new parameters, you can go to set parameters here, and then press new value, and it says that for the free version, which unless you're using a pro version, then you're using a free version, the max number of textures is 30, and I currently have 29. I think by the end of until this part, you should have around 25-ish, and you can add 4 more, 5 more, so it's more than enough, barely more than enough than what you need for the expressions. All right, so you press OK, and you put in a name. You just need this one and this one. So like I don't know, angry, and the ID will be angry. The ID will show up in Live2D viewer as in the control panel. Right now, it's just gonna show up as the angry right here, the name. All right, so default value between 0 and 1, that's fine. If you want to change it later, you can always come back to it. And if you don't like it at the bottom, you can always press up or down to shift them into a higher position. All right, so that's how you throw in your own parameters. So I have four new of them. Last time I already introduced the ahoge, and this time I also add 4 new ones. And The reason of having them separate, because if you check out the official Live2D tutorial or the samples, they have some of them in the same scale. I think they have blush and sweat drops in one scale, meaning that, first of all, let me move this during center. Meaning that where there's a scale where it's called tension or happiness or something like that. When it's at 0, it's normal state, or it might be 0.5. I don't know, or it could be 0, 0.5 here, and there's 1.5, and there's 2, sort of like that kind of scale where 0 is neutral, and the negative part would be the sweat drop. So when it slides down to the negative, you will see that there's the sweat drops here. All right, so maybe this and this. All right, and if you move upwards, you will start to see the sweat drop. Oh, well, you move upwards, you don't see a sweat anymore. You'll start to see the first degree of blush, and then all the way through you'll have to see a second degree of blush. And there's a reason for being so. How I understand is that because they do the project for a phone mobile app game, which you sort of like a date sim-ish kind of game where you talk to the character, and obviously in those game systems, the character is either disappointed at what you said and feeling awkward, or it's sort of like blushing and happy towards you. So there's an attraction happening. All right, so that's why it's on the same scale, because it makes sense, right? If it's negative, then obviously she had negative feelings towards you, and there's going to be sweat drops. If more extreme, there might be the grumpy pulse, but I don't think they have them in their samples. But anyhow, the concept works like that. So they have everything in one scale. However, I want to introduce you to use different parameters for a reason, because some of the expressions that I personally use are a mixture of a few of them. Like I showed you just now, I would have tears, blush working together to get one effect. If I don't have the tears, and I may still have to blush, because maybe I like her being sort of like not sort of like about to cry emotions. I want her to have the happiness emotions, and I might have her do this instead. So I'm gonna raise the eyebrow a bit higher. I'm gonna tilt the angle like that, and I might spread them outwards like this way. And then I'll make her, she doesn't smile, but I guess I can give her like this, or I just close her mouth. All right, so maybe this is her very happy love dove sort of expressions. All right, that's moments of love, and that is when she has her positive expressions all out without the tears, because that's what I don't want. The tears is going to be crying or embarrassed, and this is sort of the other kind of happiness using the same blush. And that's why I have them separated, because I have the option to, I have the freedom to combine them into the expressions I want. Sometimes I just don't want anything but just tears. All right, so that could happen, right? So how could I have everything in one scale? That's why I have them in different. There's also you can also be angry and a little bit of blushing like that, or angry with tears, angry with sweat drops, whatever reason. Yeah, so if you have more, you realize that you need them in separate. The only problem is that if you're using a free version, you cannot have more than 30 parameters. If you have a few already, if you're approaching the limit, you may consider having some of them merge into one. Just making sure to yourself that you will never have them in flexible combinations. So they're in solid, definite rules that it's either sweat drops or either blushing. They will never come along together. Then you can have them in one scale. In my case, I may have grump and blush in the same scale, because I don't see myself ever using blush and grump at the same time. All right, so that's just one example. I think that's all. Oh, and I haven't have them tied to any deformer, and that's why just now when I move the head, nothing moves. So let's turn it up. Let's turn the grumpy pulse up, and as you can see, it's not following the face. Let me think. I have a general deformer, and I'll probably have the general tied to, I can have them all tied to the face, and that might solve the problems. But as you remember, the face deformers doesn't only affect the angle it looks. It also have a little bit of a spherical changes inside the face. It's very subtle with just the color tones, but if you have other details on it, they might distort. They might get distorted. So it doesn't always work when you're tied to the face directly, although it saves a lot of work. Anyhow, instead of that, the other option is that have the general deformer tied to your neck transformer, which is a child object of your neck rotation, I think. So neck transformer, there you go. And is it tied already? Alright, so what happens is that when you move the angle Z, you already see the transformer moving on its own. I mean, yeah, moving along. And also, if you move the angle X and angle Y, it should also, the body X and body Y, and they should also move along. And if you have breathing, they might affect too. And anything else apparent to that hierarchy, it might come along. And however, this is still not happening because this is the job of this deformer. So anyhow, let's have everything tied to the EXP general deformer. So EXP general right there, and let's check angle X and angle Z. So when the when the neck rotates, you can see the grumpy pulse is already moving along. Now what we have to do is setting this part. All right, so let's have angle X 3 point, angle Y 3 points. There, we got our 9 green dots. All right, so again, move to upwards, and if you want, you can, here is how we use the snapshot button. Press snapshot and go up. Ooh, it's kind of blurry, but I guess it gives some sense of how it should go. Probably right here. I don't think I need it in this case, honestly, because I already moved the head, right? So if this looks right, then it would probably be right. Yep, so there, go upward, and downward would be at this position, and this side I would move it here. If you like, you can have it you know, a little bit of a spherical effect right there, but obviously if you want that in, you might as well just make it tied to the face completely directly and save you this deformer thing. So I got this, and I need this to go up as well, a bit to the right, a bit higher. So this, it feels like so from this point to this point, it feels like it's sliding horizontally, and vertically it should be no change. I can see it's still a little bit too high, so I'll move it back lower. And if it looks sliding directly to this side in proportion to the rest of the face, then you're probably on the right spot. Go down in between these, they should be vertically aligned. So this should move a little bit far left, right. I feel like it's touching the eye, and that doesn't feel right. So probably back here. In this case, it's also too far up, and yeah, it doesn't look right. Anyways, I'll follow with my my intuition right here instead of those mathematical rules. And there. So now we have the grumpy pulse following around, and by this time, if you check other expressions, they should all be ready because they're all tied to the same deformer. You see right there? It seems slightly off. Mostly correct, theoretically correct, but obviously there's a few problems. The sweat drop is flying out when you turn to this side. The sweat drop is flying out when you turn to this side. I can do this, but I mean, if you do this, if you fix the sweat drop, other expressions might not work. because you move it too far in. And if that is really a concern for you, I think it's fine in my case. Like I would go with it totally. Let me give that everything a try. Ooh, maybe yeah, maybe tiers aren't working so well. In worst case scenario, you will need to make 4 different deformers. Each of them control one of these parts. So there's deformer for the blush, deformer for tears, deformer for sweat, deformer for grump. Alright? And have them separate and fix them individually. It's not a lot of work. I mean, it's gonna be like, what, 5 minutes more work? And I'm not gonna show you right now, but that's probably not too bad. So if you find it really, I actually find it really disturbing, so I'll probably do that off camera. But if everything works fine for you, then congratulations, you should be done with your model right here. And next episode, definitely it's all gonna be on Animator, because I just confirmed that the free version of Animator actually have a good amount of functions allowed for you. So originally I was worried that maybe the free version doesn't allow you to save out, to export, or limit your size a lot. What it only does, I think the only difference between the free and the pro version is that the free version has limited size of your project. I think it's about 640 by 420, something like that. It's not too bad. I mean, it's more than enough for non-professional use. Even for indie games, probably would be enough. If you're building a game, a visual novel, it's probably good enough for your usage. Yeah, that's about it. I don't think I know how to put in a background, because I've tried to implement a background in Viewer. It never worked for me in my last project, but maybe you'll figure out. So that's all for today. I'll see you guys next lesson.